My name is Tyson Bryant, and this is my video on C++. So to start off, what is a CPU? A CPU is a central processing unit, which is the primary component of a computer that processes data and instructions. It's also known as the main processor. And what does it do? It executes instructions, runs calculate, and that means it runs calculations and logic operations from programs. It also manages data flow, which means it controls data transfer between memory, storage, and devices. And then it also coordinates hardware, which means it directs system components for smooth operation. And then as you can see over here, I have a picture of kind of what a CPU looks like. It has the huge box that goes with the monitor, and then inside is where the computer actually is. Moving on. So next we have RAM, which stands for random access memory, which is the computer's short-term memory, storing data and instructions for a quick access while running. So what does it do? It stores temporary data, it holds active programs and processes for quick access. It also speeds up processing, which means provides fast data retrieval for the CPU and manages multitasking, which allows switching between applications to go smoothly. And then over here, this is what a RAM would look like. All right, moving on. So hard drive. A hard drive is a component that stores your digital content, such as videos, documents, pictures, just about almost anything on a computer. All right. And this is what it will look like on the side right here. And it can be small. Its capacity can be small, and it could also be a lot bigger depending on what type you get. So, what are comments? Comments, they're typically ignored by compilers and they help make code more readable for developers. And then there's single line comments. They begin with forward slashes, two forward slashes, and then they continue until the end of that line. And then you have your multi-line comments, which are enclosed between a forward slash and followed by an asterisk, and then they are ended by the same thing, a forward slash and an asterisk, and they can span from multiple lines. And all these two comments, they are there to help make the code that's there more readable and understandable. So then we have variables. Variables, there are storage locations in memory that hold data. And some types are integer, which we have here, which is a type of variables that stores whole numbers. Floating points that hold decimal numbers with less precision. And then you have other things like characters, strings. Yeah, this you have string, and then you also have precision, double precision floating points, I believe they are called. Yeah, double precision floating points, which can store larger decimal numbers with more precision. And then last, you have your if statements, which they are used for decision making and only to execute a block only if that specified condition is true. If not, usually there'll be an else statement, which kind of uh, tells the program what to do next if the first statement isn't true. And some other quick things that aren't on here, but that you should know about are indel statements, which are basically inline statements. They stop the line there, and then they go on to the next one. Most line there's in the actual program and code and stuff that you'll see quite a few that in there. You have your input statements, which are CN, which you'll see that, and then followed by a space and two double arrows pointing to the right. And then you have your output statement, which is cout, which is basically the same thing, except the statements are facing the opposite direction, the left. All right, so let me take you to versus code where I can show you a better example. Okay, so here we have the IO stream, which is kind of like the library for the input and output, and you usually see it below it using namespace std. There's other stuff that are used, but this is a pretty common one that you'll see in the big for like I believe a beginner level. Maybe. And then you have int main, which this starts kind of like the code that is supposed to be ran, the input and output. Oh, that's always going to be there, int followed by the parentheses and the bracket. And then you see there's the comments there, the double slash forward slashes, and then it says variable declaration, and then you'll see throughout the whole thing, and it's kind of clarifies what it is. You have the int. The int variable, which it's right here, it's declaring the variable 5 and float the floating point variable, which is declaring it 3.5. So this if statement in this case, you'd plug 5 in for num1 and then num2 would be 3.5. And since in this case 5 is greater than 3.5, it's true, and that'd be the end of it. That would be the output. So and then you would have and you have else if else is not else would be if these are not if 5 is not greater than 3.5, which it is, but let's say if it's num1 is 1 and then num2 is 2, then whatever output statement or else statement is there, it will follow that condition. And as you can see, you have cout statements. There is no input statements here, but most codes have them. And then the return zero is a very common. You see in every not about every code. That's the kind of the end of the program right there. And then you see the parentheses. That's the last thing that goes there. And yeah, that's just about it for my video. Thank you for watching, and I hope you had a good time.